Hi. So, let's talk about that disrespectful employee. The one that challenges your requests, goes around you to your boss, and seems to really get a kick out of making life difficult for you. My video on managing a disrespectful employee is one of the most watched and most commented on videos here on my channel. Managing these employees is hard, uncomfortable, and can impact your self-esteem and confidence in some very unhappy ways. And the reality is that in many cases, these employees really aren't coachable and probably aren't going to change, and that can leave you feeling really stuck. I've worked with a number of clients to help them decide what to do and how to handle these situations, and if you're interested, the links to that video plus some other resources on managing difficult employees are down in the description below this video. All that said, someone recently left a comment on that video that brought up an interesting question. Is that employee really disrespectful, or are you perhaps the one who's not respecting them and their expertise? Okay, stick with me here, and let me give you a little background on who I am and why I think this is actually a really important point. I'm Grace Judson, and after a long career in corporate life as an executive, leader, and manager, I left corporate to become a leadership coach, trainer, and consultant. As I said, I've worked with many clients on this issue of respect versus disrespect, and that comment that they left made me reflect back on those client conversations as well as on situations in my own career. There are clearly employees who, for whatever reason, are disrespectful to you. They may push back on things that are obviously in their job description, gossip about you or their teammates in hurtful and harmful ways, go around you to senior leaders in order to undermine your authority, and so on. And there are lots of potential reasons why someone might do any of that, and I want to dig into one in particular, bearing in mind that, of course, this behavior is still unacceptable, regardless of the potential validity, bear it with me here, of the reason for it. When we have someone on our team who has a particular expertise, especially one we don't have, an expertise we don't have, a skill we don't have, whether they're a long-term employee or a new hire, it's on us to respect that expertise. We may not understand why they do things the way they do or the reasons why they question some of our instructions, but it's on us to show them the respect of asking for clarification. The pandemic changed a lot about how we work. And one of the things that's emerged very clearly is that people want more flexibility and autonomy over their workday. That doesn't mean, of course, that they get to do whatever they want, but it does mean that you as their leader need to think more about outcomes than about how or when someone is doing their job. If the outcomes are okay, or if the outcomes are good, then does that really matter? So is that employee expressing their frustration over being micromanaged? Are they going around you because you're not paying attention to their explanations of why they might be right about how they want to do something? Or are you even asking them for an explanation? Again, behavior like that, going around you, gossiping, arguing with you, it isn't appropriate and it isn't respectful, but it's worth stepping back for a moment and thinking about why someone might be doing this and asking yourself if you really listen to their point of view. Look, I can remember times of extreme frustration early in my career when I did indeed go around my manager to senior leadership because of situations that I couldn't see any way to resolve otherwise, and that were preventing me and the team I was working with from really doing the best possible job that we could. And I could remember times when, as a senior leader myself, people on my team argued with me about how to approach a project or an important task. Neither situation is comfortable, but I hope that in the second instance, where I was the leader, I took the time to listen and understand before making a decision. Given the number of people who told me they appreciated my leadership and enjoyed working with me, I'll stick to the belief that I did. So, to summarize my point here, my recommendation is that before you put someone on a performance plan, stop and think about what's actually going on. How might you be contributing to the problem, and what might you be able to do to demonstrate your respect for this person and see if that could turn things around? Maybe you've already done that, in which case, go you. And if it turns out that they really are incorrigible, as certainly some of my clients have discovered in their experiences, then by all means, talk to HR, get them on that performance plan, and work to help them improve. I've included a link below to a performance improvement plan checklist that can help you walk through that process. All I ask is that you take a long, hard look at the situation first before you do that. Okay. I know the concepts I'm presenting in this video may not have been the most fun to learn about. It's hard to think about how we're contributing to a problem, and I get that. So thanks for sticking with me all the way to the end. Check out the resources I've linked to below, and of course, if you want to hear more from me, by all means, click the subscribe link and the notifications bell so you'll know when I release new videos. I promise they're not all as, I'll say, challenging as this one. So go forth. Be the leader that you wish you have had in the past. And let me know if you have any questions or comments. I always come back to answer in the comments section. Take care.